Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Storm Talk here on wave3.com and on our Facebook page as well. Meteorologist Brian Good here, alongside Matt Belay from University of Louisville, interning with us today. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
All right.
Nice to be here.
You excited about the storms tomorrow?
Yeah, should be a good line.
Are you concerned about them?
A little bit, but not too much.
Not too much there. All right, Matt's helping us out today and keeping an eye on the weather models that have been coming in and, of course, the storms that we're expecting for tomorrow. So let's get right to it. And I love the face it makes me make when I freeze the frame. Anyway, here's the latest in our severe weather risk as we head into Thursday afternoon and into Thursday night. The area in yellow is a slight risk that has been posted that has not changed much from the Storm Prediction Center with the latest update as of midday today. However, they have added an area of enhanced potential for wind damage to take place across far southern Indiana, central and west Kentucky, and areas of central Tennessee. They add this enhanced risk, usually indicate there's potential for widespread wind damage in that zone. And we'll watch it. It does not include an upgrade to a moderate risk, which is kind of odd, to be honest with you. But I do suspect they probably will upgrade that later to a moderate due to that potential for widespread wind damage. Again, this is for Thursday afternoon and especially into Thursday evening. For this afternoon, just some high thin clouds streaming in. This is a sign of change when we see cirrus clouds stream in overhead, and we're seeing that at this moment, but it's not really blocking out a lot of the sun, so we still should be able to warm up nicely here into the mid-50s. A wider view shows a couple of things happening here. The main energy of the storm is still back here across the Rockies, but you see a lot of cirrus clouds developing here in the Plain States. This is where our warm front is going to be developing as window later on for tonight, and that will work its way into here for sunrise tomorrow. But the main action as far as the cold front and the severe weather risk, that is going to be found riding through here. Again, it's over in Utah at the moment. We got plenty of time to track it. So between now and then, pretty quiet except for the warm front, which we'll get right into here in just a second. All right, 53 degrees, current temperature outside. We've already reached our high today, by the way. That was around midnight tonight. It was very warm last evening, and around midnight we were around 57 degrees, so it's a little odd, but our high has already taken place for the day. We may get close to that number again in a few hours, but overall, not bad. With some sunshine, it feels really nice outside. Here's Futurecast. Take you hour by hour now through this entire event. This is the latest update for just one computer model. Models are varying a little bit on the speed and timing, but this gives you the best overview of what we're thinking right now. As we into later on for tonight, the warm front works its way in from the south and west. It'll be oriented in that direction. Along this front, there will be a little bit of thunder, maybe some hail with some of these as they pass through the area. So rush hour tomorrow morning could be a little wet with these showers moving through. After the warm front goes by, look how quickly we clear out with some sunshine. And this is crucial. If we do not clear out into sunshine, that will help keep things in a little bit of a calmer state as we head into Thursday night. But right now, pretty much every models we've been looking at indicate that we're going to break out in sunshine during the mid to late afternoon hours on Thursday. If that's the case, these numbers of 66 will be too low. We'll probably be between 70 and 75 in spots across central Kentucky. So very, very warm as this sets up for what's going to happen after the warm-up takes place. That'll be the actual cold front, which will spark off thunderstorms. The big debate so far with this in the past 24 hours is going to be whether we're going to have supercells develop first. And we usually do in these setups. They're going to be supercells for about, I would say, 60, 70 miles. And then after they track that distance, they form more of a solid line. You get two different threats in this kind of a setup. If they stay individual cells, like they could be first, you get more of a tornado threat. Hail threat is also increased. So tornado and hail, pretty high threat as long as they stay individual cells. Once they go into this state of more of a line, a solid line, it's more of a damaging wind threat over a large area. In fact, county-wide area, trees can be knocked down and power lines, and that kind of a scenario. Your tornado threat is there, but it is lessened because tornadoes can only happen for a brief moment in this kind of a setup. They can still happen, but they're limited on their longevity. So they only form for a little bit of time, and then they're gone off the radar. Hail threat, pretty much zero in this kind of a scenario, but the damaging wind threat will be pretty high. So the debate we're going to have for our viewing area, all 29 counties we have, I think it's going to be divided. I think our central and western part of our viewing area is going to face a supercell potential, and our central and eastern sections will face the squall line potential. That means the threats will actually evolve as the evening goes on from a tornado threat to a high wind threat. And if we're off on the timing in any way here, that will change the threat potential. But this is the way it's looking right now. The model has slowed down a little bit. Our in-house model is taking it to 10:30 now as the time frame for the line of storms to move through. I think that's still a little too late. It could be as early as, say, 6, 7 o'clock in our western counties versus 10 o'clock. But, well, again, we'll keep an eye on the timing. They move on through about 3 in the morning. Everything should be east of us, no problem. I still wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of snow catch up with that. The cold air will change it to snow in East Kentucky. I do not see that happening here locally, but it will be pretty chilly as we get into early on Friday morning, and then we'll keep an eye on the cold weather for the weekend. Now, as far as this is the vorticity, what we're looking for here is the amount of punch this system has. You got to keep in mind, this low pressure located in Iowa and 2 areas of Minnesota is going to get stronger and deepen as it passes through the Midwest. The amount of energy that's coming at us from Missouri and Illinois is going to cause what we call lift to take place ahead of it. There's a tremendous amount of energy forcing the clouds to go up. And when that happens, you're going to get some thunderstorm development that could develop fast and rapid, and in some cases become very supercellular. And that is likely the case we're going to have across areas of Kentucky and Tennessee, right ahead of that main push that's moving in from the west. And again, that looks to take place as we get into Thursday evening. After that, it'll calm down for us. So that's one aspect. The other aspect I want to point out is going to be the winds. You know, it's going to be pretty calm tonight, but the winds are really going to ramp up tomorrow with the warm front. They really ramp up as we into Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, and then they quiet down as we into Friday to do a closer vantage point on speeds. You know, tonight, no problems. Very comfortable, in fact, for tonight. But then we get into the warm front tomorrow. Wind speeds as the warm front passes through could gust as high as 30 miles per hour. Then as we into the afternoon, when it becomes sunny outside, the sun actually enhances the wind, by the way. We call that mixing of the atmosphere. You get a partly cloudy sky, the winds go crazy. So based on this, wind advisory criteria would be met, and I would not rule out a wind advisory coming out for a good chunk, if not in the entire area, based on winds really ramping up in the afternoon hours, and those high winds will stay with us until the squall line comes through. But even after the storms pass, it's going to remain windy until after midnight, and then by tomorrow morning we'll see the winds ease up a little bit. As far as rainfall goes, we're going to be watching that. For the warm front, we're talking about the potential of about a tenth to a quarter of an inch of rain, the warm front. So not a lot of heavy rain in the morning, but there will be some rain, and as I mentioned before, some hail and thunder with that. Then we get the main line of storms to come through, and we're talking about a half inch to as much as an inch and a half across areas of Seymour and Bedford. And that's bad because you're under a flood warning right now in this area for the East Fork of the White River. You get an inch and a half of rain along with that snow melt. We're going to have some flooding problems develop here for the river basin in Indiana, so we'll watch that. So that's the latest look right now. Keep in mind, timing is our biggest issue here because when they're supercellular initially, they're going to be like splattered all over the place on the radar, so it's hard to time something like that out. So the time's going to vary a little bit on the initial part of the line. Once it gets organized and gets into a solid line, it's easy to time it out from there. But in general, I'll be on alert from about 5, 6 o'clock in our western counties, and as late as about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for our eastern counties. Here in Louisville, we'll be right in the middle of that. So say 7 and 9 o'clock, that'll probably be a good range for Louisville for us to see the main line of storms come through here. So a lot of questions still have to be answered. And again, if we don't break out in sunshine tomorrow afternoon, that'll help the threat. If we do get sunshine tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night could be pretty dangerous. We've got to watch it. This is not, and I repeat, not a March 2nd repeat type event. It's not like that. But there is a risk for damaging winds, and trees will likely go down. The trees are already weakened from the ice storm that we had, and the trees are weakened because of the snow melt. The ground's very soft. It will not take much to get these trees to be knocked down. And with wind gusts of 65 to even 70 miles per hour in some cases, we could see a lot of trees go down tomorrow night, and therefore a lot of power outages could take place. So it's not a major event, but because our ground and our trees have suffered quite a bit the past few weeks, the effects could be a little more dramatic than we normally would see in this kind of a setup. So that's the way it looks right now. That's your latest in your video blog. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your help on that. Matt's going to be hanging out with us for a little while longer, and of course we'll have much more on the news starting today at 5 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. Kevin will be joining me at that time as well. Have a good afternoon.